my name is Lauren and I hope that this video finds you well. I'm going to be going through my vinyl collection today. And as you can probably tell, I'm filming in a different part of my apartment today than I have been over the past few videos. It's because the window in my bedroom is physically incapable of being closed right now, so I'm filming here now. But all that aside, I'm going to be going through my vinyl collection today, as I said. I have about 15 vinyls, I believe, so I am a collector, but I definitely don't have as much as some of my friends do, or as I know avid collectors do. And most of my vinyls are new, so nothing super rare or impressive. But vinyl collecting is fun to me. It's one of the only things that I collect in terms of physical things that I like to have. So I'm just gonna be going through them today because it's fun to talk about. So I'm gonna be ordering these by which artists I have the most vinyls of, and then I'll be going by album based on the year it was released. And then by the end, I'll be covering artists that I only have one or two vinyls from. So to jump right into it, we're gonna start with my favorite band, 21 Pilots, and all the vinyls that I have for them. So the vinyls I have of theirs are Regional at Best, Vessel, Blurryface, Trench, and Scaled and Icy. Pretty much the only album of theirs that I don't have on vinyl is Self-Titled. I have not been able to find it anywhere, and I just haven't gotten around to buying a bootleg version of it yet. So to start, I have Regional at Best right here. This was gifted to me. I don't remember where they bought it, but I do know that it is a bootleg copy. So don't be thinking that this is some rare, impressive vinyl, because it's really not. It's just a fan-made copy as far as I know. I specifically like to collect colored vinyls. It's one of the only parts of my life where I have color because my clothing is pretty much all black. But this Regional at Best vinyl is this super cool pink and red marble pattern. And for fans who know, Regional at Best is basically a demo album of Vessel that came out a few years after. So most of the songs between Vessel and Regional at Best are repeats, but they're definitely different versions. And I really like some of the songs that are only available on Regional at Best, like Anathema, Kitchen Sink, especially Forest, Slow Town. So it's nice to be able to have a physical version of those songs. Next up, one of my favorite vinyls is my Vessel vinyl. I was also gifted this quite a few years back, and the reason why it's one of my favorite vinyls is because it's clear. I just think it's so cool on a record player to see a clear vinyl, and this is the only clear vinyl that I have so far. I just think it's sick. Next up, we have the classic Blurryface album. This was the first vinyl I ever got, and it was also a gift. And this vinyl is just the classic black color. The only really thing to note about this album specifically, of course I love Blurryface, not as much as some of the other 21 Pilots albums, but because this was my first ever vinyl, I remember getting this vinyl before I'm pretty sure I even got a record player. I know my dad has been an avid record player collector and a record collector for a long time, so he gave me one of his hand-me-down record players when I first got my Blurryface record, and then I was able to play it. But I'm pretty sure I remember being 16, not owning my own record player, and borrowing my dad's whenever he wasn't using it so that I could play my Blurryface record. Or he would have his player in his office, and I would go into his office when he wasn't working or when he was on a trip, and I would play my vinyl with my friends. And I'm sure you can tell, but this album is quite knocked up. There's a lot of creases, and it's just not in the best condition, that's for sure. But I honestly don't collect records for the resale purpose of them or the value that they'll have in the future. I pretty much collect records because I want them now and I like them in the moment. So at the end of the day, I don't really care if they get really beat up because I've also moved a ton in my life. So it's bound to happen that my records will get kind of screwed up in moving. Obviously, I care a lot about the physical records themselves, but the packaging, it to me is really not that big of a deal if stuff happens to it. Next up is my record for my favorite album of all time and my favorite 21 Pilots album, Trench. Everything about this Trench era and everything about this album concept is amazing to me. I think that the colors are great. I think that the design of the record packaging and the record itself is so great. They came out with, I think, at least 5 separate colors of the vinyl where you could get different colors based on your region or based on the store you bought from. And when the vinyls were released, I bought mine off of the official website, which got me this beautiful yellow color. I know there's also a classic black color. I'm pretty sure there's an orange and a green, an olive green possibly. And I think there's also an olive green and yellow mix. Besides that, I'm not quite sure what other color combinations there are, but I'm not somebody who buys multiple of the same album in order to get different color combinations of the vinyl. I pretty much pick which color I like the most if it's available near me, and I will buy that copy. And last but not least, my final 21 Pilots vinyl is the Scaled and Icy vinyl. And this one comes in this super cool blue color. And I know for a fact for this vinyl, they had tons of color variations. They had orange, silver, the classic black, this blue, they had a more opaque blue color. I know there's so many colors of this vinyl that were released. So that's it for all of my 21 Pilots vinyls. And the next artist for which I have the most vinyls is Bastille. The first Bastille vinyl I have is Wild World. I went to see Bastille in concert in Toronto in 2022. And then the next day I went to a vinyl store and I found this and I just had to get it. And I'm really glad I did because I haven't seen Wild World in any vinyl stores since I found this one in Toronto. So really glad I picked it up. And this vinyl is just another classic black. My next Bastille album that I have, I absolutely love this album and I have it on vinyl, is Doom Days. I don't have the extended version of Doom Days, I just found the original, but I was happy with that as it was. And this is another classic black vinyl. And then my final Bastille album that I have on vinyl is Give Me the Future. And this is again just the original version, not the extended version of the album. And this was gifted to me by a family member. And this has got to be one of the coolest colors of vinyls that I have. It's this bright electric neon green yellow. It's crazy. But I think it's so fun, just like this album. This album is so different from Bastille's other work, from Wild World, from Bad Blood, from Doom Days, from Other People's Heartaches, from all of their work. I think it's so special. And I know a lot of fans don't love the Give Me the Future album, but I think it's great. I think it's a really interesting direction for the band to go in, and I think that this vinyl is really fun. Next up, I have two vinyls for the band Half Alive. The first one right here is Now Not Yet. There's a funny story behind this album. It was gifted to me, and my friend who lives in the US, he was able to order it for me, and then he had it shipped to his apartment. But because he's in the US and I'm in Canada, we don't see each other very often. And I had sent him an e-transfer to pay for the cost of the vinyl. And then he wanted to give it to me physically in person when we were gonna plan to see each other next. But then he ended up forgetting the vinyl at his house. So we met up in person and he didn't even have the vinyl to give me. And then he ended up giving it to me the next time we saw each other in person, which was 5 months after the first time we saw each other in person when he was supposed to originally give me the vinyl. So overall, I paid for this vinyl and then I waited about 8 months to get it. So I'm so glad that I finally have it in my hands. I only just got it in September, so it's still kind of new to me and I'm so happy that I have it. And it kind of feels free because I paid for it months and months and months ago, and then it just showed up at my door and he gave it to me and I was so happy. And I love the color of this vinyl, this super cool mint green color. And something about this is really pleasing to me. I feel like it goes really well with the album art. Now Not Yet is one of my favorite albums of all time. I'm considering even getting a tattoo of the album cover right here on my body somewhere. So I am just so happy that I have this. Next up, my second and final Half Alive vinyl is the Conditions of a Punk vinyl right here. And I have this signed right here. I was actually able to meet all of the members of Half Alive twice, and I was able to get them to sign my copy of Conditions of a Punk. And this vinyl color is this super cool deep blue. At this point, I've talked about the fact that I've met Half Alive in several of my videos, but it was still such a super cool experience. And it was nice to be able to talk to the members and have them sign my copy of Conditions of a Punk, because this album is so good to me. I think every single song is amazing. And then on top of that, not only do I have the original Conditions of a Punk vinyl, but I also have the Never Been Better cover that was done with Orla Gartland. And this was given to me by my best friend, the same friend who gave me the Now Not Yet vinyl. And I will say I was not expecting to get this because I didn't order it, but when he brought me the Now Not Yet vinyl, he also gave me this as a gift, which I was surprised by, but it's awesome, it's super cool. So yes, the original vinyl has the original version of Never Been Better with just Josh Taylor singing, and then this has the version with Orla Gartland on it. Next up is Glass Animals. I have two of their vinyls. First up we have How to Be a Human Being, and this was gifted to me and it's just the classic black color. I think the concept of this album is so unique. It's like nothing I've ever heard of before. It's each song on the record corresponds with a different person on the cover here, and it tells their individual story. I just find that so fascinating, so I love listening to this album. And then my second Glass Animals record that I have is Dreamland. I believe that this vinyl was also a gift for me, and it also comes in just the black color. My next artist that I have vinyls for is a band called Rush. Rush is my dad's absolute favorite band. He's seen them in concert over 25 times, I believe, in cities all around the world. He's met the lead singer of Rush, Geddy Lee, 2 separate times at book signings. He is the ultimate Rush fan. All of his friends have known that for pretty much decades now. So a lot of that interest in Rush has rubbed onto me. So I have the album 2112 on vinyl. And I remember when I first moved to Montreal years ago, the first place I went pretty much was a record store. And I saw this copy of 2112 and I knew I just had to get it. And this vinyl is also in the black color. My final Rush vinyl, it's actually a set of vinyls. It's a box, is the Rush Permanent Waves 40th anniversary box set. This thing is impressive. This was a gift for me from my dad one year. The vinyls are all in the classic black color, but this box set is awesome. It's got the original Permanent Waves album and then also a bunch of bonus content from live shows that they've done. And some of the live shows that are recorded in this box on the vinyls are not from Permanent Waves, but most of them are. But this box is definitely a big collector's item. I'm pretty sure my dad told me he doesn't even have this. So for him to give it to me is kind of a big deal, I feel like. But this thing is thick. It is a giant book with, I think, 4 separate vinyls in here and then books on top of it. So it's awesome, and I'm very glad that I have it. And now, last but not least, for my final vinyl, I have Impera by Ghost. And this vinyl, just like the Vessel vinyl actually, is clear. I don't remember if I said earlier that the Vessel vinyl was the only clear album that I have, but if I did, then I stand corrected because I totally forgot that my Ghost vinyl is clear. This is one of my newest vinyls and it was gifted to me, so apologies for not remembering that it was clear when I was mentioning the Vessel vinyl earlier. But Impera is such a great album. It's their latest album as of the time I'm filming this, 2022 it was released, and I think it's great. I love the whole aesthetic of the band as they are, and then I love the album art of this album. And that is the end of my vinyl collection as it is right now in November 2023. But as I said earlier, there are a lot more vinyls that I want to collect. So now I'm going to discuss my top wish list of vinyls that I wish I had or that I'm working on getting. The first vinyl that I need the absolute most is Wall Socket by Underscores. If you know me personally, you have not heard me stop talking about Underscores. She is one of my absolute favorite artists as of recently. I only discovered her a few months ago, and yet she has soared to one of my top artists of all time. And I think her album Wall Socket is nothing short of a masterpiece. I was lucky enough to see Underscores live in October of this year, and I was able to meet her, so I'm so grateful for that experience. But unfortunately, I was gonna go buy the Wall Socket vinyl in person at her show, but it was sold out. So I was not able to buy it, and it's been sold out on the website for a while, but I think just the other day it actually just came back in stock. So I think I'm gonna ask for it as a gift, or maybe I'll just buy it myself. And I will hopefully soon have the Wall Socket vinyl. I cannot wait to display it in my apartment. I think that album is such a great combination of hyperpop and rock. I didn't listen to her really before this album came out, so I don't know Fishmonger and her previous works very well, but I really love the direction that she took with Wall Socket. I truly think that that album is brilliant. The next album that I would like to have on vinyl is Retrovision by Honey Revenge. Honey Revenge is another band that I only just discovered a few months ago, but I have been absolutely hooked on them. Just like super classic pop punk alternative. I think it's great. And I'm pretty sure that the Retrovision album comes in like a really nice pink color, so I would love to have that. Speaking of pink albums, another album I would actually really like to have is My God by Tessa Violet. I saw Half Alive twice this year, and Tessa Violet opened for them both times. And I know my friend was also able to go see her headliner show in August, and I wish I could have gone so bad, but the timing just didn't align well for me, so I wasn't able to go, unfortunately. But my friend has her album on vinyl, and it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful pink color, and I love the way she designed it. And I love every single song on that album, so I would love to have it on vinyl. Next up, to round off the main Bastille albums, I would really like to find a copy of Bad Blood or Bad Blood X. I know recently, a few months ago, they just released a Bad Blood 10 anniversary album, which is the Bad Blood X version. So I know that's on vinyl, so if I could find that, that would be really nice. But Bad Blood is the only main Bastille album that I don't have on vinyl. I know that they have other people's Heartaches albums and stuff like that, but I'm mostly just talking about the main albums that they've released as like big projects. And Bad Blood is the only one that I'm missing, so either Bad Blood or Bad Blood X, either of them would be great. And then the final vinyl I would really love to have is Self-Titled by 21 Pilots. As I said at the beginning of the video, it's the only 21 Pilots album that I don't have. I know that it's almost impossible to find a legitimate version of that vinyl. I don't even know if they actually exist. They may have only ever made regional at best vinyls, but even that I'm not even sure is true. So a self-titled 21 Pilots vinyl that is legitimate may not actually exist. Don't quote me on that though, I'm not sure at all. But even if I could find a bootleg version of Self-Titled on vinyl, I know they exist. I think would be cool just to have, even if it's not legitimate. So that's it. Those are all of the vinyls that I'm hoping to get in the near future. Those are all the vinyls that I currently have. If you own any of the same vinyls that I mentioned in this video, feel free to let me know. If there are any more albums that you think I would be interested in listening to, feel free to let me know as well. But that is all that I have for now. I hope you have a good morning, evening, night, day, whatever time it is for you, and I will see you during my next upload. Bye!